Well. Cowboys fans, I don't want you to be alarmed, but I do think there's an issue we need to keep our eyes on. And Brian Schottenheimer is going to have to fix this sooner than later. The Cowboys brought in George Pickens. And it was CeeDee Lamb who said that George Pickens is not a 2, he's a 1, and we're both 1s. But then when we watched the Philadelphia Eagles game, you can tell me anything you want to, but the Cowboys didn't treat George Pickens like a 1B. They treated George Pickens like a bona fide number 2, treated him almost like he was Michael Gallup. And so I'm just saying, if Brian Schottenheimer doesn't get this fixed this week, I don't think he needs to go another week. If he don't get this fixed this week, we could have a problem on our hands. Dallas Cowboy fans, I'm about to tell you why George Pickens could very well be trouble for the Cowboys if we don't get this fixed. Let's talk, Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And if you like this video, don't forget at the end to please like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And if you haven't become a channel member or subscriber yet, please do. We have a lot of great things coming up this season. Now let's talk facts. George Pickens. I will be the first to tell you, this George Pickens pickup was absolutely incredible. And I do think it made a huge difference on Thursday Night Football. George Pickens' mere presence. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles rolled their coverage towards him. That cover, I guess that shell coverage on him, basically where you're trying to cover him short to intermediate, and really more intermediate if you ask me, and cover him on the boundaries with the safeties. They were willing to dedicate that kind of coverage to George Pickens. But the problem is that the Cowboys, to me, it was like they were satisfied with the Eagles rolling their coverage towards George Pickens so that they could just get CeeDee Lamb more opportunities. Well, that's not what we bought George Pickens here for, is it? And especially with this man in a contract year. This man in the contract year is going to be very frustrated if he's getting minimal targets, minimal throws, minimal touchdowns, minimal yards, anything you look at. This man may actually look at this as sabotage because if his numbers are lower, maybe the Cowboys could get him at a cheaper price. I don't want to even believe the Cowboys are thinking like this, but nevertheless, I'm just telling you what could be in the mind of George Pickens. And I'm not going to overly criticize George Pickens. I just think that this is an issue where Brian Schottenheimer needs to get a hold of this real quick. So I want to show you 3 things as we get into this video. I want you to hear what Brian Schottenheimer said when he was asked about George Pickens. Then I'm going to show you the amount of snaps or the amount of targets that George Pickens got. And then I'm going to show you the film that's already showing us that regardless of what we're saying, and I didn't want to, boy, there are some things you don't want to accept. But one thing I want to do as a content creator is that when I see truth, I want to be able to accept it. And if I said something that's in opposition of it, I want to be able to change my mind. I never want to be so locked in on something or something that I even said. I never want to be so locked in that I'm not willing to change my mind when I see something that is right. And so when I look at the film on this thing, I looked at it with my own 2 eyes, and it was undeniable what we're going to see from George Pickens. So first, let's listen to Brian Schottenheimer.
Garrett Podell, CBS Sports. Brian, George Pickens, he had 4 targets in the last game. Was that a game plan thing, or is that more Stack's first game back and he's just really excited to throw 13 to CeeDee Lamb?
No, again, each week's going to be different. Garrett, George is an incredible player. They did cloud to him quite a bit, but each week's going to be different, and you never go in and say, okay, hey, well, you get 13 or 14 this week, and you get 4. Like, we never do that. Really, the ball kind of goes, certain spots. Looking back at the film, even watching with Dak a little bit ago, there was 1 or 2 potential possibilities where the ball should have gone to George. And the cool thing about George is, like I said, he was so into the game. Like he affects the game in a good way. And I never felt one time like he was pressing, which is a great thing.
What is the conversation?
Brian? I'm rolling with you, Brian. I'm rolling with you, Brian Schottenheimer. But I know you watch film better than me. I know you watch film better than some of the content creators out there. I know you watch film out there, brother. And there is no way you can watch the George Pickens film and you don't see something wrong with the film. No, Brian, I understand you don't want to be out here bashing George Pickens, and it is not advisable to do so. But Brian, I can't agree with you on this because I know you see this. Not only that part, but I do think Brian does need to. I do think Brian needs to. And I believe Brian believes he needs to also. I don't think he's going to divulge everything that he's doing. But he does need to sit down with Dak Prescott. But you need to sit down with Dak and say, hey, so this is kind of the game plan. How do we get George Pickens at least 10 targets this game? Can we get CD 12 to 13? Can we get George 10? No, you need to do this because of the type of receivers that you have. You need to do this. Even if you do it in a way that where people don't know it, you need to do it. You need to do it. You can't have 2 superstar receivers like this. You can't have these types of receivers and just say, hey man, we're just going to, it's just going to shake down. It's going to develop organically. No, you got 2 different types of receivers. 2 different types of receivers. It can't develop organically. I believe CeeDee Lamb is a better route runner. So if you're talking about getting open in routes, well, you're going to hit CeeDee Lamb almost every single time. Not to mention CeeDee Lamb with the run after the catch. George Pickens. Let's not say he can't run routes. We're acting like he can't. I know he can. This dude can run routes. Let's stop treating him like a one-trick pony, like he can't run routes and do the Tony Romo, Dez Bryant thing and just treat this man like we're just going to throw deep balls to him all the time. No, let him run routes. Let him run short. Let him run intermediate. Let him run slants. Whatever you want him to run. But you have got to make a concerted effort to say no. Because we know CeeDee Lamb will be open a lot more because of the type of receiver that he is versus what George is, a boundary receiver. No, we got to make an effort to get this dude the ball. We got to run different route combinations. We got to do different things to get this dude open. Because if we don't, we're going to get exactly what we got this last game. Listen to Brian. He's going to now talk about when he went and looked at the list. And then I'm going to show you the list. Check him out.
Like, entering this week, new player like him, contract year, wide receiver where they kind of have to ask for the ball. What's that like, you, the play caller, going to a receiver like that and talking after a week where it's only that kind of number?
Well, it's funny, and I didn't have it with George. I should have probably had it with George, but...
You think? You think? I would have called George Pickens the next day. I would have called George Pickens the next day and I would have told him, George, don't worry about it. We got you. We got you. I apologize for the amount of targets that you got. I'm sorry. I'm apologizing to him. Let me tell you something. It's not the fan base that got George Pickens just amped up about his contribution to the Cowboys. CeeDee Lamb got him amped up. Dak Prescott got him amped up. The media got him amped up. Brian Schottenheimer got him amped up. The Joneses got him amped up of what this dude is going to contribute to this team. And I know it's just the first game. I know it's just one game. But you can't come out against the Eagles and not use this man. Not let him be a pivotal part of the catching game. Man, I don't want to hear nothing about no decoys. I don't want to hear nothing about no blocking. I know all of that is important. And I do think he needs to be talked to. But doggone it, don't bring this man in here and start feeling some type of way because he feeling some type of way. I'm feeling some type of way. You don't bring this man in and not make him immediately a pivotal part of the game. I'm sorry, but George Pickens, for me, he's getting 10 targets against the Eagles. Minimum. Him and CD are different types of receivers. And I'm telling you, I still say CD Lamb is the best receiver in football, but I'm going to tell you this. I think George Pickens may have stronger hands. I didn't say better hands, but I think he may definitely have some stronger hands. I would love to know what their hand size is, because I'm telling you, George Pickens got some strong hands. You got to figure out a way to get this dude in the game, especially down there towards the stretch. You can't just go to CD Lamb over and over and over and over. You can't do it. Yeah, Brian, you should have talked to George Pickens. Listen to this.
I showed CD before the game all of his targets. So on the back of your call sheet, you've got to get the ball to certain people. And like it was like this. Okay, CD, look at all your targets. And then literally George's was right below him. I was like, okay, then look at all of George's targets. So it's like, obviously the way we're designing the game plan is to feature your playmakers. And
So is George Pickens not a playmaker? That's a rhetorical question. He is a playmaker. So why didn't you treat him like one? Yeah, Brian, I'm just being honest with you, Brian. You should have had this conversation with George Pickens before you even talked to the press about it. Brian's going to learn. I'm still riding with Brian. I already said Brian needs to have a year as the Dallas Cowboys coach to get used to the media, to get used to the fans, the content creators, just to get used to everything, to understand kind of how he needs to move. Brian is one of these guys. He's very transparent. I think he's going to learn as time goes on, but there are certain things that you need to keep close to the vest. And this is a conversation that you should have had with George Pickens and not with the media first, just like you said.
It's very evident that those two guys are elite players. I think that's why Vic and those guys played us the way they did. That's why I think the running game is so important, because I think we're going to see quite a bit of split safety or shell coverage because they're going to respect our guys on the outside, because if you play them one-on-one, the defense is at a disadvantage. So, again, it's more of them just knowing, hey, we see you. We know you're a great player. We're going to try to get you the ball as much as possible. But like I've always said, there's only one ball to go around. And a lot of it is, again, the two of them have such a great relationship that George was happy for CD with his production. And guess what? This week when it flips, CD will be happy for George and vice versa.
I hope that's true. But I think you got to do better, Brian. If I could send a direct message to you, you got to do better, though. Don't let the game flip back and forth. Balance it. Balance it. Don't let it flip back and forth. Balance it. Punish teams. Help them to understand. Yeah, this game, I say just to get George Pickens some confidence. Yeah, maybe you let this be the George Pickens game. But from this game forward, you need balance. You need to show a defense that I'm going to hit both of these wide receivers this game. I'm going to hit them 10 and 12, 12 and 10, 11 and 13, 10 and 10, 9 and 9, whatever you're going to do. You got to show teams, bro, I'm about to show you what you in for. I'm going to show you that we can do this with George Pickens in particular. I think the one you got to prove this with. We can hit you short, intermediate, and we can hit you deep with George Pickens. You have got to do this with George Pickens. Let me show you the actual count, the snap count of CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. And let me mention this before I say that. Brian said they play off of each other. Let them play off each other like they did in training camp. Let them play off each other in a game. Let them go back and forth. Let it be competitive in the game to where it's not the pressure on CeeDee Lamb to catch every single pass you're throwing to him and knowing that you're going to him 15 times. How about you hit him, then you hit George, and then CD. He's playing off of that, say, now, let me get one. George playing off him saying, now let me get one. That's how you got to play this thing. Don't let it be one game here and one game there. This his game. Balance it out. The snap count is courtesy of Outlaw at Outlaw Cowboy NFL on X. Make sure you go follow him. Look at this. CeeDee Lamb, 30 routes, ran 13 targets. George Pickens, 32 routes, ran 4 targets. Can't happen again. Can't happen again. Outlaw is exactly right. George Pickens absolutely needs more balls thrown his way moving forward. I said it the other day too. Absolutely right. Brian's got to do better than this. And I understand Brian doesn't want to divulge everything, but no. He should have had this conversation with George Pickens. Don't even have this conversation with the media. I've said this before about Brian. Bro, you're going to learn there. You don't have to tell the media every doggone thing. There are just some things, bro, you should just go to George Pickens on this, because I'm not justifying what I'm about to show you about George Pickens. I'm not justifying it. I mean, sometimes you just got to admit it is what it is. George Pickens, no matter what anybody tells me, I know this man was frustrated because I was frustrated for him. I was frustrated for him. The Cowboys had me amped up, gassed up, thinking this dude was going to come out here and just bludgeon the Philadelphia Eagles with this passing attack. And it just was a CeeDee Lamb night. CeeDee Lamb dropping passes. Ferguson dropped a beautiful pass. Schoonmaker dropped a beautiful pass. Well, when were we going to give George Pickens an opportunity in a very crucial moment? You want to talk about frustrated, man? I'm frustrated for him. And so some of the stuff that this dude was doing on key plays, I'm not justifying it. I'm just telling you I understand it. Says here, NFL fans call out Pickens. Following the Cowboys' 24-20 loss to the Eagles, several fans ripped Pickens for his lack of effort as a run blocker. This is who he is, one fan said. If you don't block, you don't get the rock. Horrible effort. Pickens should be ashamed, a second fan commented. He might legitimately not make it through the season if this is repeated. Almost hard to believe, a social media user added. This is why Pittsburgh moved on from him, and Dallas fans thought they were getting a steal, another fan wrote. I'm not justifying it. I'm just telling you. I can just understand it. I can truly understand where this dude may be coming from. We didn't bring this dude in. We did not bring him in for his blocking ability. Do we want him to block? Yes. We didn't bring him in to be a decoy. Should he be willing to be a decoy? Yes. But I'll tell you this, when you got a receiver of this caliber, and you know the situation that you got him in on, you know what kind of receiver that he is, and all wide receivers are pretty much divas. You know what it was when you brought him in, and then you're going to get him in. What are you going to try to do now? Test him out to see how he responds? I showed this play yesterday. Watch George Pickens. This is George Pickens right here. He was supposed to block that man. He made a bona fide business decision. If this play breaks, it's probably going to be cut up the middle because the middle is wide open. But how's he going to break? George Pickens has literally not even blocked his man, and his man is actually running behind him. And I showed the film from the other direction, from the first person point of view. George Pickens looked right at him and didn't block him. Let me rewind it just a little bit. Look at this. Look, he looked at him and turned his head. I don't know what else to tell us. Looked at him, let him go past. I mean, George is out here making business decisions, man. It's George again. George again. That's the same play from earlier. Here's George again. That one was just so lazy. He got a personal foul on that one. George again. He's just making business decisions out there. And I think the issue is he's just saying, man, I'm not a, look at this. He's not selling any of his routes. He's just not selling anything. And also, if you look at George Pickens on the play to CeeDee Lamb, that last play that he had to dive for, if you look at George Pickens, he was actually supposed to clear that out. Brian Broadus talked about it yesterday. He was actually supposed to clear that out, but because he didn't run the route hard enough and fast enough and sell it, that it was a cluster down there. And even we saw that if you go back and look at the film, you saw that on a couple of more plays where he was supposed to really sell it, clear that out, and he didn't clear it out because he's running very lackadaisical. And I think one of the reasons is he's frustrated. And I'm, man, call it what you want to, but you bought the dude in, not for these things. For me, that stuff is extra. I bought this dude in to be a pivotal part of the offense. I brought him in to light it up. I'm sorry, I brought him in to light it up. And Brian is talking about, the run game is important. Well, Brian, I can tell you this, and it's not rocket science. Until you start punishing teams with George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, they're going to be able to handle your run pretty easy. They are going to be able to handle your run pretty easy. They'll be willing to give up those 5 and 6 yards, those 6 and 7 yards, as long as they can put you in third downs. And then if you're just going to go to CeeDee Lamb on third downs, Jake Ferguson still has got to prove that he's reliable. George Pickens is the key to a lot of this Cowboys offense opening up. And it's not just blocking, and it's not just route running. And I'm agreeing with you. He should be blocking. He should be route running. He should be willing to be the decoy. But the Cowboys should also be willing to make a concerted effort to say, no, we're getting this dude 10 targets a game minimum. No, I'm going in saying that. I'm not going in with this garbage talking about you get what you get or this game and may flip and that. No, don't flip it. How about you get both of these guys double-digit targets? It'll open up your whole offense. Make this dude more versatile like we saw him at training camp. We saw him in motion. We saw him on shorts. We saw him on slants. We saw him on outs. We saw him doing different stuff. Well, do it again. Now again, I'm going to calm down. It was game 1. It was the Philadelphia Eagles. It was Vic Fangio. I understand all of that. But I'm just saying, going forward, Cowboys need to get this fixed sooner than later. And it needs to be the next game. And continue to be tweaked every game after that. And don't go another game with this guy getting 4 to 7 targets. I'm just telling you, not a problem. But if Brian don't address this the right way, it is going to be a problem. Y'all tell me what you think about this George Pickens issue. Could be very serious. Could be much ado about nothing if Brian comes in this week, gets him 10 plus targets. But again, I don't think that's the answer either. I think you got to get him in, talk to him, tell him, man, we need maximum effort on every play. And then I do think you need to go in after this game, from this game, or this game, and you balance it out and you do go in with the intent of, can I get CD 12 and get him 10, get him CD 13, get him 11, whatever the case may be. But I got him, get him involved. And not only that, but get him, mix his game up and not just treat him like Michael Gallup. Y'all tell me what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Until the next time, let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.